Hi, this is Reg Athwal, and I am the Family Business Messenger. Welcome to our channel. And for those of you loyal subscribers, today I'm going to be talking about your legacy next-gen parenting. Just recently, I wrote an article on this, doing extensive research with existing clients, looking at all the case studies from the last 20 years and thinking, how does one become a better parent? I mean, it's not like the minute that we have kids that someone ends up giving us some type of manual or parenting guide, do they? For most of us, it's a copy and paste model. Whatever we learned from our parents, we end up pretty much doing the same, mimicking them, copying them, but we really don't know whether those things actually work to create great children. What I mean by great children, I'm talking in the context of leaders, great entrepreneurs, especially when it comes to our family business legacy. So we don't get this manual, we don't get this guide. And I wrote an article about this the other day, which I sent out to all our Family Business Academy members. And I just really want to focus on the summary of that for today's video. So, therefore we pretty much learn both good and bad habits, would you agree, from our parents, from our guardians, from our extended family and whoever else is influencing us, especially in our younger years. And our research shows that the prime years of legacy building and development for our children is very much from that 0 to 7 age range. In some cases, okay, it could be 7 to 14, but we're talking about the first 14 years of our life here. Thereafter, very much we are living on autopilot. Can you imagine that? 14 years of age onwards, we've got our operating system, we've got the default setting, and we're pretty much running on autopilot. There's not much, very small percentage thereafter in our adult life that's going to have a huge impact on us. Okay, there may be 2 or 3 incidences that happen maybe a 20, 30-year period into our adult life that then starts to shape us again. But most of the time, we are running on autopilot. So if we are to build a lasting legacy, we don't want to leave it to random chance. Would you agree? We need to be clear on who's educating and influencing our children and our grandchildren. In today's world, if as parents we are not investing the time to educate the next generation, then I'm sorry. So you've got social media everywhere, all these different platforms. You've got Netflix and Amazon Prime. You've got their friends, their teachers. You've got house staff, people that are maybe, spending more time with your children than you are. That's what I'm trying to say. My words are not even coming out properly today. So what I'm trying to say in summary, there's a lot of influence out there from different mediums that has an impact on the skills that your children or grandchildren would end up developing that enables them or doesn't enable them to become good parents. And if one is not a good parent, surely that's going to have an impact on legacy. Would you agree? Because at the end of the day, to go from one generation to the next, it's going to come down to parenting. It's not all about what happens in the boardroom. If anything, it's about what's happening in the home first. Unfortunately, a hard truth is that the past does come back into the future. Unless we deal with some of those inner underlying issues, blockages, and demons that we have today, it's going to have an impact on our children in the future when they become parents. This is a hard truth. I've seen this happen with generations within family businesses where maybe that father hasn't dealt with certain inner issues because of their relationship with their parents. And as a result of that, it's now showing up with their own children as they become parents. It's like we're passing down these bad habits or blockages. So this is a really big subject area, and it's worth investing that time as a family to discuss things of what good parenting is all about, and possibly have a look at, or at least assess, some of those sensitive topics and areas that come up. Maybe in your next family forum or next time you're doing a family retreat, you could probably look at some of these sensitive topics. But to help you today, I'm just not going to just ramble about these things. I want to make sure I leave you with some value today. And remember that children will do as you do and not as you say or keep telling them do this. Do that, do that, do that, telling them, it's not going to work. It's a quote that's been around for decades. Remember that they will do what you do and not what you keep saying or what you keep telling them to do. So I've got some reflection questions here in my summary that I want to share with you, some questions that could maybe help you ponder over these. And if you want access to these, make sure that you visit our website, link with me on LinkedIn or any of the social media platforms, and I'm happy to share more of this information and get this out to you. So let's start with number one. First reflection question that you could debate either for yourself or with your family. Are you a great role model for your next generation? If it's yes, why do you think that? If it's no, why do you think that? It's worth doing a deep dive on this one simple question. Do you think that you are a great role model for the next generation? And I would recommend go and get some feedback. Okay, get some feedback from family members and just ask them, hey, I want you to be honest with me. Do you think I'm a great role model? What are the areas that you feel, are worth copying and pasting in the future as you become a parent? Ask your children. I've done this with my children with many forums that we've had. It's a powerful way of getting feedback where you say, yeah, Dad, these are the things that we really like about you and we definitely want to instill that into our children in the future, but these are things that we don't like. Hey, it's good to get this feedback. Number two, what do you need to do to, what do you need to stop doing or let go of, which if the next generation also start doing in the future, it could lead to sabotaging your legacy? Hope that makes sense. What do you need to stop doing or let go of, which if the next generation also start doing in the future, it could lead to sabotaging your legacy? So that's question number two. Number three, if we are watching a movie scene right now, okay, screenplay, here we are, and we're watching it right now, and you happen to be in it with your children or grandchildren, what will you notice? What will you start to observe about how you're communicating with them? This is really interesting. It's about stepping out of the movie that you're in and being the observer and then looking at how you're communicating. Do you ever get frustrated? Question number four, do you ever get frustrated with your children? Why? Why? Why do you get frustrated? Go deeper into answering that question. And is any of this linked to how you were treated as a child or not? Think about that. Maybe that's coming to the surface with your children, but it's got nothing to do with your children. It's got to do with what's happening inside you with things that didn't happen or should have happened or could have happened, whatever was happening in your movie when you were growing up as a child. Number five, have you ever shouted or got angry with your children? Why? Is it really to do with them or is it to do with you? Okay, it's linked to the previous question. Number six, have you ever stopped talking to a family member for a long period of time? Why is that? I came across a case study recently. Someone said to me, oh, I haven't spoken to my brother for 6 years. Wow, 6 years. Well, it could be a couple of days, it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years, but have you ever stopped talking to a family member for a long period of time? Why is that? What will the next generation observe from this way of being? Think about that. The next generation are looking at this thinking these two people haven't spoken to each other for years, and yet we have certain reunions, family members come together with social gatherings, but these two don't talk to each other. What will that next generation gauge from that? What will they assess from that situation? And more importantly, what impact will it have to them? How about this one? What if they end up replicating that in the future and at some point they stop communicating with you for a long period of time? How will you feel about that situation? Again, I'm just trying to open up your mind here with some of these questions. 7, if we interviewed all of your next generation, children and or grandchildren, asked them about their parents and grandparents, regards to what they like and what they don't like about them, what do you think they will say? And this is linked to that feedback question that I was talking about earlier, or maybe take that step of getting feedback. But if we did that as an example with your family and asked them those questions about their parents and grandchildren, that next generation, what do you think they will say of things that they like and dislike? And how will all of that show up in the future? Number 8, what things do you not wish to pass down to the next generation? Think about that. What are the things that you do not want to pass down to the next generation? What changes do you need to make first in yourself, if you look in the mirror, in order for this to happen? Hope you got that one. Number 9, how someone made you feel good or bad in your childhood has a lasting impact. Would you agree? It's all about how we feel. How someone made you feel good or bad in your childhood has a lasting impact. So what can you remember from the past on what made you feel good or bad? And how does that show up in the present with your family members? And the last one I've got for you, number 10. Are you happy in your life today? Wow, we could do an entire video just on this one in the future, okay? Are you happy in your life today? If not, why? If not, why? And what impact does this have on family members around you? What is the one thing that needs to happen for you to be happy or feel happy right now? What could that be? It may be linked to certain relationships. It could be to do with finances or your health or something else that's not happening right now. And sometimes because of that frustration, we can end up pouring that onto our family members, and especially with children. And as someone said to me once, if you put a nail in a fence and take that nail out, you could varnish that fence all over again to make it look like new. But if you look carefully with a magnifying glass, you'll still see a scar in that fence. And I believe that's what we can do sometimes as parents with our children. And that little scar could then show up with their children in the future with some level of frustration or anger or something that's missing inside their life. So are you happy? And if you're not, what's the one thing that needs to happen for you to be happy, to maybe prevent some of the negative things showing up with next generation? So the good news is that it's never too late to work on these things, okay? And repair the past before its ugly head. All right, imagine this monster, this ugly head comes back in the future. We must become great parents, great role models, great grandparents, in order for the next generation to learn how to become good parents themselves in their own right, which helps build your family business legacy. See, a family business legacy in future is all based around good leadership. And that leadership is not born in the boardroom. It's born at home first, as I said earlier on. Lastly, in closing, it's not about having a great family structure, really good policies, and all these ground rules. And I know these are all important, but it's not all about having just those things. It's all about how you get on as a family. So remove your ego. Hey, say sorry if needed to someone. Maybe that's what's needed. And don't forget, what are your core values? Is there authentic appreciation, trust, harmony, security, love in your family, or whatever values are important to you? Are they there or not? Because ultimately, that's what's going to build your legacy in the future. And how we feel is more important than anything else in our family. Get this right, and the rest will fall into place to build that legacy for the future. Family businesses that have lasted 100+ years all have one thing in common. One thing. And that is that all of them have lots of what I call this good feeling-based communication. Not just communication, but good feeling-based communication. Communication. How you feel within that communication and how others feel is far more important. That is a different level of communication. So there's no secrets here, okay? These are basic things that we can work on immediately. So that's it for me for now. Hope those 10 questions have helped you to open up your mind a little bit, become a great role model, become a great parent, and influence your children in the right way. And for those of you running a family business today or looking to build a family business for the future, you'll end up building a really good foundation and then start looking at all the other great things that you can do as a family business. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Leave some comments if you'd like to ask some questions. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. My bio details are in the description here. And ask me more questions. And thank you very much for watching our video today. God bless. Take care. Bye for now.